Whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. We talk about news, current events, pop culture, politics, a bunch of nonsense. And I'm sure you guys cannot see I was crying 2 seconds ago of laughter. And I apologize that we're a bit late. But Kim McAllister, she had quite the mishap. Now, I want you to give the quick story, but I just want everyone to preface this by what I said in response to Kim first, which is, there's such a gender aspect to so many things in life that we don't even think about. And when women talk about like the invisible load, Kim's story is both the invisible load and the physical load, because she had quite a mishap. That's why she was a little late coming on. And then she had to tell me the story, which was really worth it.
Where do I begin? Do you want this morning or do you want yesterday?
No, I want this morning because, yeah.
So let me preface this by telling you that front-loading washing machines suck.
Yeah, and let's just stop right there. I don't know whose idea was it. My husband, we got rid of the front loader, but you know what he convinced me to get instead? The washing machine, it's top loading, which I like better because I had the front loading and it sucks. But without the agitator in the middle, so you can have more. But then you have to like make your clothes in a circle and leave the center open, so it kind of uses centrifugal force or whatever the hell to wash your clothes. I don't like it, but it's a new one, and so we're stuck with it. But go ahead. All right. She has a front loader. Those suck.
I have a front loader, and I always leave the door open, but still, that little rubber gasket around the where the door closes, it gets moldy and gross, no matter how often you leave the door open or whatever. And I don't leave clothes in the washer. I know that this is a problem.
Yes.
And it got to the point where it looked like the show that we were watching with the mold fungus.
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. I mean, it was covered in grossness.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put my clothes in there anymore. So I had the appliance guy come out and replace it. And it was not cheap. It was $200. It was $200.
That's a lot.
It was a lot.
But it's cheaper than buying a whole nother washer.
Totally. And I've been thinking about doing it for a while because the more I cleaned it, like I couldn't keep ahead of it. It just got gross and grosser and grosser and grosser. And when I looked in and I kind of like removed it, like you could see mold down underneath it. It was gross. So I'm
that's
like,
awful. And then you don't want to put your clothes in there.
No, it had to go. And so I replace it. And now I'm like very religious about wiping it down. Not only do I keep the door open, but I have a little towel there that I wipe the inside of the gasket. I'm like, there will be no water. There will be no mold. That was a one-time replacement. So before we come on the air, I have like 10 minutes and I'm thinking, I got to fold this laundry. I got to get the wash into the dryer so that I can wipe it down and leave it open today so that there will be, less of a mold chance.
Right.
So there I am on the couch folding my piles of laundry. Everybody gets a pile, then they carry back to their room. And I'm building my piles, and they're growing, and they're taller, and they're taller. And I have it's 8:58, and I got to log in by 9.
Late. It's getting late, people.
I'm like, uh-oh. And David's like, you got to go. And so I fold the very last thing, and all of a sudden, all the piles topple onto the floor. Damn it! I'm yelling. What's wrong? All my piles fell. He's like, oh, I thought it was something serious. I'm like, listen, it is serious. I just
folded all these friggin' clothes right here.
All these clothes, and now they're jumbled in a pile on the floor. So I just threw them on the couch, and I got to go back and do the same thing I already did. It's the same work.
No, you only do it once. Everyone else can pick their freaking clothes off the floor and fold it themselves. But I was cracking up because just seeing Kim in my mind, being so frustrated, and she was dropping F-bombs. She's not going to drop an F-bomb right now, but she was dropping F-bombs before. But my point is this. I ask her, she tells me this whole story, and I go, do you think that there is any reality in which two men are having this conversation about friggin' laundry? And it's so funny because, sometimes I'll just, and I totally feel you. I felt this story in my soul. It's happened to me. My kids have seen me freak out about nonsense. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
It's cold. Clothes. It's just clothes on the floor. It's not that big of a deal.
In the scheme
grand
of things, no.
But for moms and like, or, and I'm not saying, obviously if single dads and stuff, but God darn it. Like,
you know what? I thought I had this task completed before I moved on to the show. All right. And now I got a big ass pile of clothes that are all mixed together that I have to refold and re-put in piles for everybody.
Oh God. Yeah. It is so funny. I exactly. And it's so frustrating. And it's just, I don't know if my husband, I have these conversations with my husband about, and I have a great husband. He feels me. He reads me across the room when I'm frustrated. But again, it's the things like if I wrote down every single thing that I do all day long,
I know.
Be a mile long, and you don't get any credit. I'm not gonna cookie, you know what I mean? Like if I don't do it, it's not getting done. So that's it.
And it probably doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you see the pile, it's like that tumbles in slow motion, and you're like, no.
It was like a check mark on your to-do list. I feel you, woman. I feel you. So cheers to you. The day can only go up from here, even though your laundry went down. So there you go. So
last night, I find this box, and it's not that big of a deal, but it's a water additive that allows you to absorb water better. And I think, what the hell is this?
Wait, an additive for your washing machine or for you?
No, for your drinking water.
Why the hell? Okay, keep going. I don't understand this.
I don't either. How did it end up in my house? I don't know. Turns out it's Julia's. I said, what the hell is this? Well, it's for sports. I'm like, you don't do sports. She goes, well, I do PE. I'm like,
that does not count. That does not
I'm signing up for badminton as a spring sport, so I might need it.
You're not breaking a sweat, sweetheart. It's okay.
I go, listen, I don't know what kind of chemical crap this is that you need to dump in your water, but no. And next time, please ask me before you buy it.
Absolutely.
And currently, it's going in the garbage. She freaked out, and she yells at me.
Really?
You suck!
What the hell?
And storms out of the room. No. And I'm like, oh.
I suck, huh?
Oh, you suck indeed. Let's tell you how much I can suck. So I say, you just lost your phone for 3 days.
Yeah, now I really suck. Now you can go ahead and bitch and moan to all your friends about me now.
Yeah. Anyway, last night she was really talkative. After that, she apologized. She said, I understand it was my fault and I'm so sorry and what have you.
You can't tell me I suck.
But she stayed up. She talked to me. I don't know. It opened up this conversation. She told me everything going on at school, including a new girl who got caught vaping in the bathroom.
Oh, welcome to my life every day.
Other girls were standing with her, and they all got thrown into the office, together.
Yes.
And I go, you see now, you can't just stand around and watch somebody do it. It's not good enough. If you see someone, what is your move? She goes, turn around and walk out.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
right. Welcome to teenagers, says Lori. That's right.
Exactly.
You suck.
We are in the throes of it.
You suck indeed. This morning, though, she gave me a kiss on the forehead as she left for school. And I cracked. I'm like, oh.
Here's your phone.
I'll give you your phone back. You get your phone back. Yeah, I'll give it back.
I feel like the phone is such an easy thing to take away. And believe me, and we're just going to have a little mom session here. My daughter and one of her best friends, they cannot be off the phone with each other or in person with each other. And so finally I'm like, yo, it's dinner time. Put the phone away. She's like, I'll be right back. And I'm like, I want attention. I want attention. So you got to fight for it wherever you can. Sometimes that means taking away the phone. All right. Yeah. I love you, Kim. Yeah. Speaking of vaping though, can I just give a shout out to my husband who is quitting vaping?
Yay.
He no longer has nicotine in his system. It is not easy to live with somebody that is quitting nicotine.
No, but I'm so proud of him right now.
This is the longest he has ever gone. He is doing it. He's committed. I am so proud of you, honey. He's not happy, but he is doing this thing. It's like this. He has this thing called Fume, F-U-M or Fume. I don't know what you call it. It's not a vape. It's like a flavor pod that you kind of like, and it gives you the fidget. It's kind of like a fidget thing that you just, you don't inhale anything. It just kind of gives you this thing and it gives you a little bit of flavor or something. I don't know, but he's using that for right now to break him of nicotine. There's no nicotine or anything in it. It doesn't smoke or anything. And so he's trying his hardest. So yeah, Yes, it is James. He is trying his best. If you thought I was, and I've been honest about my smoking, I was a pack-a-day smoker forever. And I quit many, many years ago, probably about a decade ago.
So good.
And he has smoked this whole time. I mean, and then he moved to vaping and he'd only have an occasional cigarette. It is a huge deal that my husband is quitting. Like, huge. The kids are so stoked. So good vibes, good vibes, good vibes, good vibes
Totally
to you,
good
honey.
vibes. Yes. I'm really proud, and I really think that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I know it's not easy, but
It's not.
the lesson and what he's showing your kids right now is so important. They see how hard it is to stop and how hard he's working, and maybe that will inspire them to never even start.
Right.
And I just feel so happy that he's doing that. It's more for, I mean, it's for you, it's for himself,
and
it's for you,
exactly.
and it's for your kids, it's for your whole family. And please keep going. We support you.
Yes. No, this thing doesn't
go
charge.
get it, my friend.
SF Tesla. It's not. It's literally just. It's the thing it reminds me of. Remember, like in the movies, the old timey movies, those like little cigarette extender thingies. You know what I mean? It kind of looks like that, but it doesn't do anything. It has these little. The only thing I can equate it to is like an air freshener, but it's not an air freshener. But it looks kind of like that, and it gives him some sort of flavor, like fruit berry or something. But really, he could put nothing in it. It doesn't actually matter. It's just something.
That action of
it's
like
the action that he likes. So there's no charging,
habit.
There's no smoking, there's no. It's nothing like that. It's literally just he's kind of breathing in. I'm sure. That's probably not healthy, but I'll take it over vaping nicotine. So, yeah.
Well, it's a step in the right direction. So we're moving good. We're moving in the right way. Right?
Exactly. Oh, Angel, thank you so much. Angel donated $10 at Kim is the backbone of life at X-Files of Radio. Keep on keeping on. And Angel, another $10. Yay. Quit cigarettes. Nikki Hubby gets this. Yes. So
thank you, Angel.
Thank you,
That's so
guys.
nice.
So much for the support. Let's get some business out of the way since we're doing that. Click the thumbs up button, you guys. Show your support for the show like Angel did. The super chat is live, so you could donate that way. And then the Patreon. Please go to thenikkimedoroshow.com and sign up for our monthly Patreon. It's one time a month, and it keeps the show going because we're 100% crowdfunded, and this is our job. And so please contribute. We love doing the show. We want to continue doing it. And if you like PayPal, we like PayPal as well. Go to paypal.com, hit the send button, and then put in the email, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. We have a great show coming up today. In the second part of the show, first, we'll talk with Jefferson Graham, who joins us every Thursday. He has some great photos of his trip to Alcatraz and things like that. So we'll be talking about that. And then right after, Loretta Lynch, former CPUC president, is going to join us. Now, California lawmakers apparently are going back on this idea to tie your electricity rates to your income. And Loretta did not like this idea. So we will recap why she doesn't like it, what she thinks about this kind of backpedaling. And yeah, we're freezing our ass off right now. It's cold. It's only going to get colder. My heater just kicked on. You can probably hear it a little bit.
I just put my sweater on.
I have it at 65. If it kicks on, then it kicks on. But yeah, it's cold right now. We're going to see this jump. How high are your electricity bills? You guys can let me know in the comments. And if you have any questions for Loretta Lynch, just ask them in the comments and we will ask her because she is the best. She knows her stuff. And so I'm really excited to always have her on to answer all these. And I want to ask her, what do we have to do to like break PG&E up? I mean, what happened to that? Remember, we were really gung-ho on breaking PG&E up and all that sort of stuff. Where are we with that? So I want to know that. But let's do some headlines. And then we'll also get into, I was cracking up about this story. And Kim, you also sent it to me last night. A bit of bad PR and Governor Newsom coming face to face with one of the biggest criticisms of him and of California. And I'll tell you this, he was right. But I also think he got a cold water in the face lesson of how it doesn't matter what the actual law is. It's what people feel. It's the mentality of the state of California that needs to change. All right, we'll talk about all of that. Oakland, I know, Denny's, all sorts of stuff, which kind of sucks. But first, let's take a look at some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Oh, yes, it is time for news. is, let me, hold on, getting my page open, get everything all ready. Oh, it was a big dramatic opening with not a lot of fanfare. All right. A report says the United States is preparing to carry out a series of strikes in Iraq and Syria in response to the attack in Jordan that killed 3 U.S. service members. CBS News is reporting the strikes will target Iranian facilities and personnel over several days. This comes as President Biden told reporters he has decided on a course of action to retaliate. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg apologized directly to the parents of children who were harmed by social media during a Senate hearing about online child safety on Wednesday. The moment occurred while Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri called on Zuckerberg to apologize to the families sitting directly behind him. He stood up, Zuckerberg did, turned around, and addressed the parents directly, saying in part, "I'm sorry for everything that you all have been through."
He does not give 2 craps.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say he's a heartless bastard, but I really truly believe that these social media company heads compartmentalize exactly what they're doing. They're like, look, I'm sorry that happened. Who isn't sorry? I'm sorry that happened. But in his mind, he's like, it ain't my fault. Mark Zuckerberg makes so much money. He could stand up there for 2 seconds and say, I'm sorry. I don't think he meant it 1 iota. Not at all.
Do you feel like, though, he's a dad, right? He's got daughters now. Maybe he's more understanding about what people are going through and how his product is affecting children.
No,
you don't think so?
He cares at all. 1, I think his kids are a little too young, right? I mean, they're not that old. And 2, bet you dollars to donuts he's going to be like Steve Jobs. Oh, my kids don't have social media. My kids don't have a phone, right? They know what they've done. Why? Why, Steve Jobs? Why wouldn't you give your child a phone? Why? Mark Zuckerberg, probably, would you not want your kid on social media? When you answer that question, then you understand what people's problem with your technology is. There you go. Right. So I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is now apologizing for his recent controversial hospital stay. Austin told reporters he didn't handle the situation appropriately. He failed to promptly notify the president and senior administration officials of his cancer diagnosis and his hospitalization, and he faced sharp criticism and calls to resign from some people. So now
What do
he's
you think it is? I mean,
saying,
I
"I'm
know.
sorry."
I feel like there's part of it. It was probably like, I don't want to undermine what, the strength of the country. I'm an important person, blah, blah, blah. Was it? But you can't go into the hospital. Like, you can't have major surgery. You can't have a health issue and not tell your boss, who, oh yeah, by the way, is the president of the United States. Like, what is it? Was he embarrassed? Was he worried? Was he not I don't understand in what way he thought that this was okay. You have to tell people.
I wonder if when you're an older person,
you forget.
When you're an older person, you have and you have a health issue. People can look at you differently and think, oh, he's too old, he needs to check out.
Yeah,
or
weak or whatever.
Like some type of ageism, right? Where you need to keep under wraps any health problems, anything that would make it seem that you're not capable or up to the task.
Okay,
maybe that's why.
You have a very important job. You need it was gonna come out. The fact that he thought that it wouldn't is a bit ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think if you're the average person, I would go with you on that. But you're not just the average person with an average job. No. With an average boss who's a little understanding that you hid something from him. I mean, come on, you made him look like a fool. You made him look like he doesn't know what's going on within his administration. That's what he really did. And I'd be pissed,
This next one is gross. Heads
up.
Okay,
brace yourself, people.
If you're
Don't
eating
eat
your
breakfast.
cereal.
Okay.
Just for a moment.
I'll put my coffee down. I'm not eating, but okay.
There is a Pennsylvania man being charged with murder for allegedly beheading his father and showing the head here on YouTube.
Oh, geez. He pulled a Kathy Griffin, but in real life. Okay.
Police believe Justin Moan beheaded his 68-year-old father, Michael Moan, at their home in Middletown, Pennsylvania on Tuesday, then showed it on a YouTube video in which he complained about the government and called his father a traitor. Now, police say they found Justin Moan by tracking his cell phone about 100 miles from the crime scene. They arrested him without incident. This thing, though, where people are committing these crimes and live streaming it or showing it to people, this is a weird occurrence. Because usually, I would say, if I was going to commit a crime,
Right.
especially a heinous, brutal crime, which
Like
I wouldn't
beheading,
do.
yes.
But if I was going to, the last thing I would want to do is attract public attention. I'd want to hide it. I would want, because I don't want to go to jail, right? So I would want to cover up the crime.
They want notoriety. They want
Why show it on YouTube or live stream it? What?
That was the first thing that I thought about because I have a dark mind. Remember when Periscope first started, right? The whole live streaming of everything.
Yeah.
This was years ago. I was like, this is going to go bad because two things. We're going to go really dark, as in murder, or we're going to go really sexy, as in posting sex, right? Human beings have two extremes. And I knew. And I remember I was messing around with Periscope because I was at KGO and I'm looking at it and all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, people are going to make porn on this thing. Like it was just, it shouldn't have been as mind blowing for me as it was. But then of course there was these, massacres where people were on Periscope or live streaming it and people are watching people be murdered. The trauma of that is crazy. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that mentally ill people, and he is, I see that you guys are saying he's a right-wing nut job, which, whatever, but people are mentally ill. You don't cut somebody's head off and you're in your right mind. That just doesn't happen. So,
by the way, remember the guy who beheaded the woman in San Mateo with the samurai sword?
Yes.
He got 26 years to life in prison.
Good.
Right.
I'm really glad he wasn't let out on his own
26 years. What happened to just simply life in prison?
Yeah, exactly. How about this?
26 years to life? No.
To life, yeah.
Life. Yeah.
Like you're not coming out, sweetheart. You took a samurai sword and took somebody's head off. You're done.
No.
No soup for you. You're done. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much it. Yesterday, man, was it raining like
oh God, yeah.
Really? And
it was really cold too, and I hated it. It sucked.
Well, buckle up, Buttercup. It's another day of storms here in Northern California, fueled by what they say is an atmospheric river. Flash flooding is a risk, along with high winds, power outages, possible landslides as well. Gusts in the area, wind gusts have reached up to 55 to 70 miles per hour in some parts of the region. And in San Jose, they had a tree come down, injuring a child as well.
Yeah.
So
I was so cold yesterday, so I had to go grocery shopping, and I was trying to beat the storm, but of course, it started to rain when I left the house. It was really coming down when I was done grocery shopping, but I'm wearing my husband's really warm 49ers jacket, right? And I have this hood on, and I could not have this thing bundled around me because I'm just always cold. I'm inside the store and I'm so bundled. I'm checking out, there's people behind you and they're just standing there waiting for you. And I do my whole thing, and finally the guy behind me is like, kids eating you out of house and home. And it was one of my friends. And I look at him and then I look back and I'm like, I am so oblivious because I have this hood on. I'm totally ignoring him. I was like, oh, hi. Sorry. I'm freezing my ass off right now. I hate it. And then I came out and it's just pouring on me. And I'm like, it's just, I hate doing, I love the rain. I want it to come when I'm sleeping. Once I'm already tucked in for the night, storm away. But I do not like
what you're saying is you want the
it.
weather to be convenient to you.
Obviously. Some people I think don't mind. I mind. I don't want to be wet. Everything's more difficult. Ugh.
Yeah.
I hate it, but we need it. I get it.
While the storm is causing several closures of freeways this morning, part of Highway 9 in Santa Clara County, they had a mudslide come down, so that part partially closed. Highway 121 in Sonoma County partially flooded. One school canceling classes today, that is Cassia Elementary in Stewart's Point, suffering a power outage. So that is closed. The Oakland Zoo is staying closed for a second day. No word yet if San Francisco Zoo will reopen, but this is all because of the stormy weather. Interstate 280 back open in San Francisco after a police shooting. The southbound side closed for about 5 hours last night.
If there was ever a moment in which I loved the fact that I did not work in San Francisco last night, I was listening to Case. I was taking my kid to tutoring last night, and I was listening to Brett on KCBS, and it's 6:15-ish, and I know he gets off at 7, and I'm like, screwed, because everyone's going to take all the other streets. And those are the moments I hated working in San Francisco. That sucked. And it's really a sad story, obviously.
Well, an officer fired at a pedestrian on the on-ramp at Mariposa Street. The CHP says the person was armed and refused to comply, leading to a struggle before this shooting. A knife found at the scene as well. The suspect now in a hospital and is actually expected to pull through. So,
good.
A student in the Fremont Unified School District is accused of making threats. Someone reported the teen talked about hurting people on social media. That led to yesterday's arrest at an off-campus location. Police aren't saying what school was named, but they did confirm that officers found a replica gun with an extended magazine during a search. That's so weird. Like, you would have a fake gun and like little accoutrement to make it look more dangerous.
Do that because that gets your ass shot. Like,
That's right.
I don't.
Maybe that was the whole point, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're gonna, even if it's not real, if you're gonna create something that looks like a real gun, then don't be upset when like people either report you or shoot you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happened.
Well, security was heightened at several South Bay schools last week due to a different threat. So this is just kind of one in a series, right?
Yeah.
Elon Musk is urging Tesla investors to vote on moving the company's incorporation to Texas. He pissed at Delaware, I'll tell you.
Right.
This after a Delaware judge threw out a nearly $56 billion bonus package for the CEO. The judge ruled Musk controlled the board that authorized it, despite the board getting secured approval of Musk's pay package from a shareholder vote. In response, Musk blasted Delaware corporate regulations and social media posts. He wrote in one post on X, telling his followers, "Never incorporate your company in the state of Delaware." So now he wants to take his marbles and go all into Texas. Oh.
I'd be pissed too. I mean, come on, that's a lot of money. Again, it's stock. Like, it's weird. It's a problem of the uber wealthy, right? Again, it's just frustrating. Like, Elon Musk, if you follow him on X, if you're even still on it, and again, I just really promote the show and like look for some news. I spend a fraction of the time. He posted something the other day. He's like, I was talking to people, I don't know, in England or something, and they're saying they always believe the news. Ha ha ha. And I'm like, I didn't respond because I didn't want to start that whole thing, but I'm like, it's better than believing your ass. Like, you say whatever you want to, whether it's true or not. So, is the news always correct? No. Are they called out on it and feel some sort of like responsibility to tell the friggin' truth? Yes. Yeah. He's an asshat.
Yes, he is. I'd now like to turn to a couple of stories of graffiti, if I could.
Okay.
The first is a shocker. I mean, you really have to want a graffiti, right? You really have to want to tag something. Taggers have somehow graffitied 27 stories of a 53-story skyscraper.
Ooh, I want to see. Do you have a picture of it?
Downtown Los Angeles. I don't.
I'll look
it
it up.
happened
Okay.
at the Ocean Wide Plaza across from Crypto.com Arena. The 3-tower complex has been sitting dormant for 5 years after the developer ran out of money to finish construction. Video taken late Tuesday night shows a person on a balcony of the building that was tagged. No arrests have been made, but again, 27 stories of the 53-story skyscraper tagged.
It kind of looks like one of those things where, is it going to pop up? Oh no, it's not going to come up for me. Never mind. It kind of looks like, if you've ever heard of the projects or like just this abandoned ass building.
Yeah.
So it's not actually surprising that it was tagged, but yeah, that's really, really embarrassing because again, it just goes to show that, you're not taking care of your city, right? I mean, that's the problem. Hold on. I think I have a picture. Hold on. Here we go.
Okay.
I just want to give you guys an idea because this is, again, we're going to be talking right after Kim's news about Oakland, and there it is. So it looks completely abandoned, right? So it's not that hard to graffiti something if nobody's watching that building. But
I know, but you had to break in there. You had to go up there. You had to go pretty high. I don't know. I mean, it does have balconies, but still.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at all those doors. They just hop out the door. No, the ones that I'm always, the overpasses, the tracks. Yeah. I'm like, you got to be hanging. You're like Mission Impossible or something. Yeah, no, thank you.
Well, to fight graffiti in San Francisco, lastly, one man has turned to rubber ducks. Yes. This man owns a barbershop at Oak and Divisadero in San Francisco. Okay. Kind of like Panhandle-ish, Alamo Square-ish area. Or Lower Haight, they call it just in some cases. But spray painters occasionally hit the building right next door. So he has decided, and he talked to the building's owner first, can I do this mural with all these rubber ducks on the thing to prevent vandals? Graffiti. Oh. So they still hit the ducts. They spray paint their names over the ducts, and he unscrews the ducts and washes them off or puts new ducts on. And people are flocking to this location to take selfies here. Apparently,
wow.
It's kind of become this joyful thing in the neighborhood. There he is in front of his duck wall. And so he's maintaining it. He's maintaining it from, the graffiti artists or vandals or what have you. And it's this new thing. And the city, apparently, of San Francisco, in one of the ways they say you can fight graffiti is by providing art, community art. So that's kind of what he's thinking. People are donating rubber ducks to him. They're dropping them by the barber shop so that he has enough rubber ducks to keep this going. It's interesting. He screws the ducks right into the wall.
I mean, isn't it a question of what do you consider art? Because I'm sure some graffiti artists, although I will say it's not art if you're just scribbling a stupid name on there, but whatever. I mean, some people might not like the look of ducks, right? I mean, I think it looks cute. Don't get me wrong. But one art, another art, I don't know. I mean, I think it looks better and it's a little more interesting than just what's next to it, right? Which is
he's
just
taking care of it.
scribble.
Right?
Yeah.
He's updating it. He's, cleaning off the ducts. He's doing whatever he's doing. He said it's a time commitment, but when he sees people taking selfies out there and enjoying it, he thinks it's making the block a better place to be. So that's great.
That's cute. I mean, he's trying. He's trying.
I mean,
So
I'm
that's
not a big
good
fan
idea.
of I think it looks a little trashy.
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
exactly.
but
It's like
whatever.
You might not like it, so
Right.
whatever. I get it.
But it brings joy, and he's doing what he's got to do, and this is okay.
There you
Move
go.
on.
There you go.
This report is crowdfunded, which means we
is.
count on you for all of our rubber duckies. That's right. Find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com. It's thenikkimedoroshow.com online, and then you'll find all the links to all the places that you might want to go, including our podcast, Nikki Medoro merchandise on there as well. The Patreon, the PayPal links are on there, which we so appreciate.
Yes.
And thank you for being here, being part of it all. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is, God, I have to say my name again. Sometimes I run it together and it sounds like Kimba Callister.
It's Kim
It's Kim
McAllister
on the Nikki Medoro Show.
There you go. Thank you, Kim. All right. And again, just to remind you, Jefferson Graham and then former CPUC President Loretta Lynch will join us in just a little bit to talk about PG&E, your bills, your income. And I did see it. And I will also ask her about this. Somebody was mentioning it's not just our electricity bills, our PG&E bills, our water bill here in San Jose. Just got a letter. CPUC wants to raise my water rates. When do they ever say no? I want someone to document all of the times the CPUC has said no to rate hikes. I mean, if it's never, then why are we asking? Why are we going through the
list of
friggin'
yeses
motions?
is this, the list of
Yes,
no's is like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll throw that in also with Loretta Lynch, because that's obviously another thing that they're just pleading us friggin' dry in the state. I mean, I love California, don't get me wrong, but my God. All right, let's talk about GovGav, as Kim loves to call him. Governor Newsom had kind of a wake-up call. And I will tell you, I don't know if you've been in a similar situation, but I have, and actually pretty recently, where people bitch and moan about the threshold before something becomes a felony, right? And then you have to educate them on the actual law in California. So I'm going to play you. He's on like this conference call, right? I guess with other governors and what have you. I don't know if it was with other governors. He was talking about this situation. Who was he with? It was on the Zoom forum. Oh, it was about mental health.
Yeah.
This mental health proposition. I don't know who else was on the call, but you'll see them. Anyways, he's sharing a story about this interaction that he had at Target. And I'm going to play it for you.
First of all, can you imagine Governor Gavin Newsom walking through your line at Target?
Well,
Does he not have people for that?
Target.
Apparently, he goes to Target. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he has to do his own crap. I mean, come on. He's not I don't know. But here we go. Listen to this. Oh, was it going to be too low? It's too low. It's too low, isn't it?
Checking out, the woman says, "Oh, he's just walking out. He can pay for that." I said, "Why don't you stop him?" He goes, "Oh, the governor." I got two stories. I'm a mom's thing. The governor lowered the threshold. There's no accountability. No, I said that's just not true. And I said we have the 10th toughest, $950, the 10th toughest in America. She didn't know what I was talking about. By the way, it's the 10th toughest.
All right. It seems a little bit too low for you guys to hear it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So basically what the governor is saying, he's standing in line at Target. I'll just recap it. And he sees this thief walk out of the store. And so he asked the chick, why didn't you stop him? And she says, oh, the governor. So apparently
the chick being the clerk that's bringing him up
does not know at first who she's talking to. She's like, the governor.
The governor.
The governor.
And he's like, what?
Yeah. And she says, the governor lowered the threshold. There's no accountability. And so the governor says, that's not true. Newsom said he told the clerk, who apparently, again, doesn't know who he is, that Prop 47 makes it a felony for property thefts totaling $950 or higher. So if it's $950 or higher, it's a felony. That is the 10th toughest in the nation. And Kim, I have told people this all of the time. It is tougher than Texas, so many other states. Yep. It's crazy. And then she looks at him and realizes who she is, and she tries to talk.
Can you imagine
taking pictures with him? And he's like, no pictures. Get your manager.
No, I don't want to take pictures. You just told me it's my fault that your store is being robbed blind.
Exactly.
Manager now. Yeah.
It's so funny. And I apologize that I thought it was a little bit louder when I was listening to it, because I really would love for you to hear him tell the story. And like, he was just so frustrated for it. But again, people are saying when he shared the story and when it went viral, a lot of people were saying, they were praising the store clerk for saying to the governor's face what every California has wanted to say.
But she's wrong.
That the Democratic Party is to blame. But again, we're the 10th toughest in the nation when it comes to when something becomes a felony over states like Texas. Okay, so Randy asked the question, if the theft limit isn't the issue, what is? And I've said this time and again, and I will say this, and since we're a completely blue state, completely, the Democratic Party has complete control, I think it's the messaging. I think it's a message that we're not doing enough. Now, it's all fine and dandy if the felony is at $950 or higher, but there's a whole process that is involved. And I will say that the criminal justice reform, which on one hand is needed so that people aren't, throw away the key just for one, crime that another person has committed as well, but has money to get out of jail so they can keep their job. Like, there's repercussions. I do believe that criminal justice reform is needed, but I think the advertising of it has, one, led to fewer people wanting to become police officers. Our police departments are depleted. There's fewer cops to catch these people. When we do catch these people, how long can we hold them? The sentencing of certain people, all of these things taken together change the mentality of thieves. And so that's the problem. But again, when I tell people, Kim, that our threshold is higher than Texas, they go, really? It's as if they think that one thing is responsible for the rise in crime. And I think it's a confluence of a lot of different things. I just do. And I don't know how we change it, but we have to use stronger language. I think we need to fight back against the messaging that if you come here and commit a crime, that you're going to get away with it. Because right now you can, because we just don't have enough officers. I'd say that that's the number one problem. I mean, look in Oakland. Oakland, they can't buy a good headline. They cannot buy. The latest, Oakland Denny's is shutting down for good. It's on Hagenberger, this street again that's just become infamous now.
Street from hell, really?
Yeah, it is.
Don't go to the gas station, say the rental car agencies. Denny's closing.
Don't even drive down this street. It's been open for 54 years, this Denny's has. It closed at 1:00 yesterday afternoon for good.
It's like the Wild West on Hagenberger.
It's crazy. And then they put this notice right on their window at Denny's. This is the one on Hagenberger. And it says, Denny's has been honored to serve the Oakland community for the last 54 years. Closing a restaurant location is never an easy decision or one taken lightly. However, the safety and well-being of Denny's team members and valued guests is our top priority. Weighing those factors, the decision has been made to close this location. Yeah. They listed 2 other ones in Emeryville and Hayward. But like you were talking about yesterday, Kaiser, there's a bunch of businesses that are telling their employees, don't go out on lunch. Just come to work, come inside, you're safe here. This is America, people. It should not be like this.
I saw a story that Clorox headquarters in Oakland, they have hired extra security to accompany their employees to lunch, to the parking garage, to BART, wherever you're going. Once you leave the Clorox headquarters, they have a security guard that will escort you.
James
Wow.
writes, I wish we'd finally start to address the root causes of our perpetual problems, homelessness, property crime, etc. We have a major poverty problem in this supposedly wealthy, great nation. Income inequality, yes. There is this film, and I don't know if you've talked about it on the other shows yet, but there's this film being shot in San Francisco, and it's called Splash City. And it's taking a look at auto burglaries, or what they call bipping, like stealing cars or whatever.
Yeah.
That's obviously been a huge problem.
Yeah.
And it examines the social issues that give rise to this bipping culture. One of the, I guess, people behind the film, the executive producer, says this isn't a movie about glorifying bipping. What we're telling a story about two brothers and how they deal with the external stressors from society, how to pay the bills, gang influence, drugs. They wanted to do it here, and I love it, but I hate it. Right? It's not a great. They're like, we wanted to do it in the Bay Area so the story would be authentic.
Oh, great!
I mean, think about that. Think about that. It's not good. This is not what we want to be known for. I mean, forever we were known as, Silicon Valley, tech industry, really rich people, which is still true.
Yeah.
And if there was ever an example of income inequality, is literally the headlines that surround the Bay Area. Very rich and very poor. I don't know what that was. But very poor. And I'm not going to, I'm not going to go as far as that everybody that bips, for instance, is poor. I'm not going to say that. I think that there's a lot of people that take advantage. Look at the cars they're using to do some of these crimes, right? I mean, they show up in, a BMW, and they break somebody's window and they steal all of their stuff. Why are you doing that? If you're driving a BMW, why are you doing that? Maybe the BMW is stolen. I don't know, but you could sell that BMW for parts probably and pay your bills. We have a psychological problem in this area where people think they can get away with crime, and then people that don't want to look around, and maybe they live in certain neighborhoods where this bipping culture or whatever theft culture is prevalent, and they go, well, if they're doing it, why can't I do it? Why should I keep my nose clean? Why should I keep my nose clean when Jimmy over there can just go and steal something and he's living high on the hog and they're not getting caught? Nobody's arresting them. Nobody's banging down their door asking them to, bring back their stuff. They're not, and if they are thrown in jail, they're out the next day and they kept all their stuff. They got a whole racket going on. Why shouldn't I do that? And you see it, and then you ask for a raise and you don't get it, and you get laid off even though you've worked there for 20 friggin' years. I mean, I could understand how hard it is to live in a high cost of living area like the Bay Area and never feel like you get your head above water. Now, it doesn't make it right. And I'm not saying that it is, but I could see how we got to this position, and we need to change it. We really, really do. Yeah, they're changing this law though, Eric, or at least I think it's Scott Wiener that's behind this. Car thefts. Remember, there was this bill that I believe it was Scott Wiener that was coming on.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So apparently, if your car gets stolen and you can't prove that the car door was locked, there's nothing that they could do about it. Well, Scott Wiener, I think is trying to change that law, which how did that even become a law? Like, my car's gone. How about that? That's the proof. Somebody stole my car.
It's like saying, if I leave the door to my house unlocked and you come and take my TV and all my stuff, it's my fault because the door was unlocked? No. How about you shouldn't steal other people's stuff? You don't have a right to open a door that's not yours, whether it's locked or unlocked.
Exactly.
It's asinine.
I'm going to tell crazy. Now, you guys know I'm very much into what you put out into the universe, you get back tenfold. Okay. So I've been trying to instill this mentality in my children. Okay. If there wasn't a shining example of somebody that I don't know what he's done, but there is a freaking layer of protection around this kid, it's my son. So now, again, we're talking about theft. We're talking about not trusting people, right? Like, you can't leave your door unlocked. You can't even park your car, right? Now, I'm not saying I live in the hood. I don't. But I live in San Jose. I mean, I live in an area, right? Like, I live in the Bay Area that has all these terrible headlines.
Right.
So this past Sunday, Dylan's looking for all of his stuff, my son. His school stuff. Okay?
In the car?
No. He's in the house. And he's like,
Okay.
Where's my backpack? Where's my backpack? Now, I forgot to add this. A couple of days, the day before, he wanted to ride his bike and he couldn't find his helmet. And I was like, where is your helmet? And he couldn't find it. He couldn't find it. So keep that in mind. So now he can't find his backpack. And I'm like, MFer. I don't say that, but I'm like, did you leave it somewhere? Because he's done this before. He'll go to like Starbucks after school and then he'll come all the way home and be like, oh, I left my backpack at Starbucks.
Right.
With his Google Chromebook and all of his books in there. Okay. And
Google Chromebook, that's yours or the school issued
that's
it?
the school's, Kim McAllister. Okay.
I hope you bought the policy that says if lost or stolen, all I have to pay is $50.
No? You have to pay. I don't think we had that option. So anyways, my son, the last he remembers having his backpack, get this, is at McDonald's on Friday. It's Sunday.
Oh, no.
Okay. And I'm like, I'm pissed. Yeah. Like we're right about to watch the Niner game. Okay. Like this is Sunday. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Listen, I don't have time to look for your backpack. The Niners are going to be on.
I'm so mad. And so like I'm running around, I'm looking everywhere. I'm praying to God. And I'm like, Dylan, did you leave it at McDonald's? Because he's like, I'm like, he had to have had it because the helmet. He rode his bike too. And then I'm like, you rode home without your helmet. Like, how do you not keep this in mind? And I was like, Dylan. I'm like, and so then James, he thinks it's a punishment. He's like, well, go ride your bike to McDonald's and find. I'm like, no, hop in the car. One, you don't have a helmet. Two,
yeah,
we're going. Like, let's figure it out. And there is no way, shape, or form, Kim, that I thought it would be there. Yeah. And he walks in and he walks out with the biggest eating grin on his face, holding up the helmet and the backpack. Everything is friggin' in it. And I look at him and I go, and I try to like, I'm mad still. Like he lost his electronics for the whole entire day. I'm like, you've lost it. Like you need a punishment, right? But I was like, and I don't know if this is the right message, but this is the message I always give when things work out for my children. And I'm like, it's because you're not a thief. I'm like, if you don't steal from people, then you won't, not that you'll never get something stolen from you, but at least you put out good energy into this world that it'll come back to you. And I was like, and I'm thinking you're running out of good luck because you keep freaking leaving your crap everywhere. But yeah, he went in, the guy that works at McDonald's, he left it in a freaking booth. Like anybody could have slid in and stolen his stuff. And he didn't. But again, it's just when I hear about people that do steal from other people all the time, I go, you are continually putting out into this world negativity and you will never get your head above water. Like it's not going to ever work out for you. And yeah, he's lucky as hell. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. But I do believe in good energy. So
have you seen the lost and found at schools?
Oh God, yes.
Like we're talking mounds upon mounds of jackets, sweatshirts, lunchbox, backpacks. I mean, everything. So I can imagine that with kids going to McDonald's or wherever after school, or Starbucks, that now McDonald's has to have this massive school-sized lost and found section.
They might.
And I wonder, like, did they ever think, when did this happen? Like, how did we become this, repository for stuff?
Right. Well,
and I'm surprised they still had it, that they didn't just go, you know what, we're done. Maybe they looked inside and saw that there was valuable stuff in there.
I'm surprised. I was surprised that somebody didn't just take it and sell it. That was that's what I'm saying. It's just the fact that not only did nobody else sit in that booth before a McDonald's person found it, right? Like, and Dylan does, I will say this, he likes to go to McDonald's with his friends. So maybe they knew him, but I don't think so. But the guy that was behind the counter was the same guy on Friday.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, was it a helmet and a backpack, like a green helmet? And he's like, yeah. And he went to the back and pulled it out for him.
That's so nice. Karen says it's only going to get worse. He needs to keep focused next time. Boys, their brains are in their butts. Yes. They make poor choices. They forget stuff. And she says it gets worse when they become teenagers. Oh no, Karen.
Well, I told him, I was like, listen, no more going to anywhere, Starbucks, until you come home and drop off your stuff. I mean, a helmet is one thing. I would hope that obviously if you hop on your bike, the darn helmet's on your head. But the backpack, he just stands up and walks. And I'm like, don't you remember where you came from? It was school. You had something with you. And I know mistakes happen, but geez, that's a good idea. Calvin says, put an air tag on your kid's jacket and backpack and don't tell them about it.
True.
That's a good idea. And I have some air tags that I want to put them on my suitcases and I always forget to do it.
Jim with a callback. This is the same kid that lost his phone at Great America.
Thank you. Thank you. The kid, it's just insane. And I told him, and you know what he didn't forget? He didn't forget his brand new phone because I've told him, I'm like, if you lose this phone, that's it. I'm not getting you another one. You will not have a phone until you could save up the I don't know how much money because I'm still going to be paying for the friggin' thing. Yeah. So no, you do not have a phone.
Spencer left his backpack at work with sensitive documents inside. No one touched it 3 days later.
Yeah.
But I mean, in a work environment, you would hope it's a little more secure, right?
Well, kind of. Walnut Creek Softball says, hold on. I had a kid leave his backpack at the field with an iPad, Apple laptop, iPhone, other electronic equipment, and all of his homework. Needless to say, his mom was pissed. Yes, because it's us that freaking have to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
you can even hear, I can hear the mom right now. You are irresponsible. You need to keep better things, control of your items.
Yeah, it's hard. LAX says, I work at a high school. There are at least 4 different lost and found areas. And I know that kids forget things. And I'm trying to be, obviously as a kid, but I told him, I'm like, there needs, well, one, I said, you have to lose your electronics just because I need you to just think about what you did. But on the other hand, it's really expensive. Like, it's not like you left inconsequential item. Like, it's a school computer that's not ours. Like, you need to be responsible for it. Donald says, my niece loses everything and she's in her 30s. I've told this story before. I left my purse years ago. I left my purse in the parking lot in the shopping cart, went all the way home, and then drove all the way back screaming because I had tons of money. This was back in the cash days. I had all my rent money. I had everything in it. And I busted into the shopping center.
Yeah.
And I looked at the manager and he's like, and I was like, did you find a purse? He's like, we found a purse. And he gave it to me and everything was still in it.
Thank God.
Thank God. And that's why I always try to instill. I'm like, I'm not a thief.
Yeah.
I don't steal things. I don't do that. You know what I mean? It's bad juju. Don't do that. And you can believe it or you can not believe it, but I live my life by that. So
Jacob's report card is always, let me preface this by saying, Julia's never received the worst grade. Right? Oh. Which in elementary school is an R. Like you get a C for constantly does it, an S for sometimes does it, and an R for rarely does it. An R is like the F of the social section grades, right? And they're things like, can you manage your things? Do you manage your items properly? How do you handle school conflicts? What all these the little social section.
Obviously, yeah.
So he's great on his report card, but consistently gets the R for manages items.
Yeah.
Cannot for the life of him manage his item. Does his homework, loses his homework. Has an assignment on his desk, turns around, it's gone.
And then how do you change that? It's like, do you steal your kid's stuff to teach them a lesson? Like, how do you make them understand the consequence? An R, I don't think is doing it for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
the R.
R.
The dreaded R. And I'm like, Jacob, you did so well on your report card. We'll put it on the refrigerator. And he's like, I got an R. Yeah. I'm like, you did get an R, but an R is something we can improve on, right?
Let's try, and Marley's the same way. Her room is a disaster. And I'm like, how do you even remember anything? And it doesn't help when adults are like, my room was the same way, but there was a system. And I'm like, yeah, it was a mess. Like, I was a slob as a teenager, but not that bad. My God.
Julia was crying last night. I asked her to go pick up the stuff on her floor. She comes out. I just can't. Hormones. I just can't clean it. I don't know where to begin. It's just too messy.
I'll go in there. I'll begin. She goes, so quickly.
I did. She goes, she asked me this time, can you come help me? I'm like, yes, absolutely, I can come help you.
Get me a garbage bag.
You would not believe the crap I found in that kid's room.
It's so gross,
including you pick up clothes and there's a moldy orange underneath there.
Yeah, it's so great.
Like,
and they're girls. Girls are disgusting.
And how do they? I don't ever remember just throwing my garbage on the floor. Like, was this you have a garbage can in your room? Why are there wrappers on the floor?
The room is the garbage can, Kim. That's funny that you put a garbage can. Yes, my daughter.
Garbage goes in the garbage can. We just cast things upon the floor as if there's no garbage can here.
It was so funny. Yesterday, even I told Marley, because I was like, she had to clean her room before she could leave. And I said, and I'm looking at her bed that's always unmade. And I said, if there is any food, and I'm like lifting up blankets because and she's like, and she covers a pillow. She's like, well, my veggie straws are over here, but those are mine. I'm like, ew, stop eating and
I did. I found packages of things that weren't even opened. I'm like, all food goes to the kitchen.
So gross.
Like, there's
so
no
gross.
food, no.
Yeah, it's
she
awful.
She tried to buy cough drops. This is what happens. She goes to Target and she's buying little things with her own money, right?
Exactly.
She buys these cough drops, but they're Halls something, but they're not cough drops. They're dietary supplements. Cough
What the
drops.
hell? No.
I go, are you trying to lose weight or something? She goes, I didn't even know they were dietary supplements. I thought they were cough drops. I go, okay, let's look at the back. And it's like sugar, corn syrup. I'm like, are you trying to gain weight? Because dietary supplements, this doesn't look like it's really conducive.
Like just grabbing things. Oh, that's
Room
so
is
funny.
clean, though. I'll have you know.
Well, yeah, now that Mama helped. Thank you, Dave, so much for the $20 donation. The absolute best part of the show are Nikki and Kim's free form tangents. Love the stories. Yes, thank you, Dave, so much. All right, well, we're going to switch gears, and it is Thursday, and as always, we always welcome our friend Jefferson Graham to the show, who is our expert photographer, iPhone tips, tricks with our Androids as well. Hello, Jefferson. How are you?
My room is dirty.
Oh no, you're not. I'm not coming to clean
under
it.
Your pillow. I mean, is that,
I want your help. Bring your garbage cans, please.
I will literally just bag up everything and we'll be done. Like seriously,
we're coming in.
We're coming in. It's so easy.
It's all gear. It's gear stuff. You can't throw
I
it
will
away.
take gear stuff. I will take not moldy, oranges or anything like that. How about that?
You know what I
No
bet
food.
Jefferson has? I bet he's a cord guy. That drives me insane.
Oh,
Cords
yeah.
to nothing. Old cords, crap cords. Nobody needs the cords anymore.
There's a cord right there.
I bet he's got a big box full of cords that it's like,
That's
Many.
funny.
Many
Many.
boxes.
All right. So
But the good news, though, on the cords, though, is that the world has changed. Once upon a time, you're remembering a time when you needed a specific cord for a specific device.
Yes.
Now the world has pretty much moved to USB-C, so you could use the same cord or same cord type on everything you have.
Yeah.
I like that, but I live with a person, Jefferson, that still won't throw away any of the old cords because God forbid, Jefferson,
What if we need it?
Something happens and we dig some old piece of electronic out that has the old adapter, then we're screwed. So there you go.
Someday
you
you're going to
can
be
let
happy
him-
that we saved this cord.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let him or her know that you can pull up to any gas station and they sell cords there now. Truck stop. Motels.
Why
have
would I
cords.
buy it when I have it right now? It's a never-ending cycle of conversations. Okay, so this weekend, so this week,
Tomorrow night. Yes.
you
tomorrow
are
night.
going to be bringing viewers to Alcatraz. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, we're going
Okay.
to Alcatraz with an iPhone.
Okay.
A lot of people go there to visit the cell and walk around, and that's great. But there's also a great view of San Francisco from the island. One of the great views, and so I thought it'd be fun to bring people along on the boat ride.
Okay, so we have a little bit of a preview video that you wanted me to show that you have all queued up, correct? So let me play a little bit of this. This again is Jefferson Graham. The link to his show on YouTube, PhotoWalks TV, is always in the show notes on Thursday. So here we go.
Toughest photos to pick up on a visit, as tourists are all over the place, potentially ruining your shot. So let me fill you in on a great photo tip. If you're willing to stand there patiently, eventually you will get your moment to snap, even if it takes as long as 15 to 20 minutes. But here's what I did. When I saw the crowd start to thin, I went up to a couple. I asked them to please step out of the way for just one quick second. I got my shot. I walked away. There you go. Now, you will also see the crowds all over the cell floors. No amount of waiting would make the crowds disappear when I was there. But if you happen to use the latest version of Photoshop software, I can show you how to make them all go away in less than 60 seconds. Watch this. The feature is called Generative Fill. You use the lasso tool to make a circle around the people you want to erase. Click the Generative Fill button and then wait a few seconds for them to disappear. I find it best to do this in patches. And here's before and after. What do you think?
Nice.
Wow.
All
That
right.
looks really
Truly,
cool. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, truly only took less than a minute to do that whole thing.
That is really, really cool. So now this video is up on PhotoWalks TV right now.
Will be up tomorrow night at
Will
5
be up
o'clock.
tomorrow night.
Cool.
Also, I want to also show you sent me a couple of photos as well. There's this one, and that's the shot that you just asked everybody to
Right.
move away in just a second.
Yeah.
And then here is I love the black and white Jefferson. That's really, really
Nice.
cool. So
And of course,
awesome.
that's with everybody erased.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So what did you think of Alcatraz? I mean, that has to be a really cool place to take photographs.
Okay, so I know we have a big audience in the San Francisco Bay Area. There are 3 main islands to go visit. Well, maybe 4. Do you count Alameda as an island? But the big 3 would be Alcatraz, Angel, and Treasure.
Okay.
Have our 2 co-hosts been to all 3 of them?
No, I've been to none.
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 Okay.
I am from
All
the
right.
Bay Area, so I've never gone to Alcatraz.
Never been to Alcatraz?
That's on my bucket
not
list,
even
but-
to take tourists there, like people that
No.
come in from out of town.
No.
Treasure Island.
I look at it, I go, there you go.
Have you been to you've been to Treasure Island? I know you've covered stories out there.
No, I've never been to Treasure Island.
You've
Okay.
never been. What do you mean you've not been to Treasure Island in the middle of the Bay Bridge?
I have never been
Jesus.
to Treasure Island.
How did I get all the stories on Treasure Island and you got none?
Let's just do a little bit of background here. When I started at KGO, I was a reporter for a breath before they made me an anchor. So I
Oh.
didn't go out that much.
And then what
Okay.
about what's the other one? Jefferson, Angel
Angel.
Island.
Angel
Yeah.
Island. Nope.
Field trips on Angel Island? No.
I live in San Jose. That's not a place that we would
Okay.
All right.
Well,
I don't know
let
what's
me
wrong with
quickly fill in everybody.
Okay.
Alcatraz is where most people go. It costs $50 to $60 to go on a boat per person to go spend as long as you want on Alcatraz. You get to see a prison and you get to see a nice little island with a cute view of San Francisco. And that's cool. For $15, you can go to Angel Island on a boat. And you've got this big island to really explore. It's gorgeous. It's one of the best unknown secrets of San Francisco is how cool a day trip to Angel Island could be. And then Treasure Island is in between Berkeley or the East Bay and San Francisco, right over the Bay Bridge. It doesn't cost anything to go there if you're driving. You can pull up. You can take a ferry ride for a few dollars from San Francisco. And Treasure Island happens to have, hands down, the best view of the San Francisco skyline that you'll see in the Bay Area.
Nice.
So all 3 of them are fun, but I would put Angel would be a must for anybody in the area to go spend some time there.
Yeah.
I do want to go to Alcatraz, and I've taken the ferry, but that's when I went to the Sausalito Art Festival. I took the ferry that way, and it is really pretty to be on the water. But I haven't, and I apologize. I know it's such a not Bay Area thing, but I just haven't. I'm being honest.
No, it's just surprising.
Also at Fisherman's Wharf, there are a bunch of private boats that will take you for a ride on the water for $20.
Ooh, that's
And go under the Golden Gate Bridge and see Alcatraz from there. That's really a fun way for an inexpensive little tour of the Bay.
That is really, really nice. Now, if I want to, and again, I love Jefferson because you always say this same thing. All you need to take the best photos, whether you're on a boat, moving around, or anything, is your phone and just the phone app, right? We don't need anything special or anything.
That's
like
right.
that.
That's right. Yeah.
Do you bring when you go like a tripod and stuff every time you go someplace though?
Depending, I did not take a tripod with me to Alcatraz. I probably should have, but I didn't feel like it. And when I go on the big trips, like the Nova Scotia and the Western trip and Paris and stuff, yes, I have a tripod.
That's
the whole
nice.
time.
Yeah.
Well, I think that one other thing about patience is, they will eventually thin out. They will eventually thin out. And if you're just really nice and say, could you just move aside for one quick second? Nobody's going to mind.
Right. You're like, I just want to get that one shot, and just being nice can go a long, long way. If you had to choose so you say Angel Island is your favorite. Is that's the first on the list?
Treasure Island photographically has the best view of San Francisco. Angel Island would be the most fun for anybody to go spend a day. Would you agree with me on that, Kim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lori says Angel Island, common fourth grade field trip for all of the Bay Area.
That's why I've been there. I went there when I was a kid, and then Julia had a field trip out there. I expect Jacob will have one this year. Yeah.
Liz asked,
if
where
you
do you
go-
get
if
the
you-
$20 boats? I don't know.
It's right at Fisherman's Wharf. Right. I mean, right there. I just
Right there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, he's frozen. He's frozen.
Do we still have you, Jefferson? I think you froze a little bit there.
Yeah.
I'm back. Hey,
Oh, there you go.
I'm
There you go.
Hey!
You can't miss the boats. They're right there, in between Jefferson Street, I think it is. So,
Okay. Can you camp on Angel Island? I don't know if you can camp on Angel Island.
I think you can.
Okay.
I think you can.
All
I
right.
don't know.
Yeah.
And if you miss the last boat, you will definitely camp.
That's for sure. Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to be stuck on any of those islands, especially Alcatraz if it's overnight, which is really funny that you said Alcatraz is the best view of the city because, of course, that's what was, not that it looks the same, but enticed all those people to try and take it to the water and get all the way across because it's right there if they were stuck on Alcatraz.
So it's the closest. I believe it's a mile from the city.
Yeah, that's some cold water.
And Angel is 5 miles.
All right.
But the next time you go to Sausalito, head over to Tiburon. You can take a ferry from Tiburon to Angel Island, and that's a lot of fun too.
I know.
Yeah.
The problem with me is I'm so landlocked here in the South Bay so many times that I never think about it. But now I'm going to put it on my list. My friend and I were just actually talking about going to Alcatraz and doing the tour because we've never done it.
Yes,
Oh,
you
there
can
you go.
camp on Angel
you
Island. Look, you
can
can pitch a
camp.
tent right there. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
Look at that,
we
beautiful.
can talk about Santa Cruz, and you'll be more up on Aptos and Capitola.
Oh
and
yeah,
things to
well I've
do
done
there,
that.
right?
Yeah, I've done it. You know what I mean? With beach houses in Aptos and Pajaro Dunes and Bonnie Dunes and all that. But that's in my neck of the woods. And so going up to San Francisco, then taking a ferry, that's a day trip. But I will definitely have to do it.
I want to hang out with Brian. He says I sail from Richmond to Angel Island and spend the day there.
Nice. Okay, so the video is going to be tomorrow night, correct, Jefferson?
Yes, tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
Awesome.
5 o'clock Pacific.
Okay, great. And then you will be back next Thursday. Again, anybody that wants to check out Jefferson Graham, obviously the Alcatraz, but also any of his tips and tricks, his PhotoWalks TV site right here on YouTube is full of all sorts of videos. And they look awesome because it's Jefferson Graham filming them. So Jefferson Graham, PhotoWalks TV. Have a fabulous day and we'll talk next week.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, is it really? I guess it is surprising that I've never been to Alcatraz. I feel like it's one of those things like the Statue of Liberty, and for people in New York, they see it all the time. They're like, "Yeah, I've never been in it."
Speaking of that, which is interesting, you had mentioned Ellis Island. Angel Island is considered to be the Ellis Island of the West.
I didn't know that.
When ships came through with immigrants to the Bay Area, that's where they would stop and get logged in, is at Angel Island. So there's a monument out there to immigrants that came through the West Coast.
Yeah. Doug would rather visit Vasona in San Jose, Los Gatos than go to Alcatraz again, although it's cool taking the ferry. Be prepared to get wet and freeze your butt off going to Alcatraz. Yeah. Maybe for my birthday, because my birthday's in October, and October is arguably the best month in San Francisco where it's not so cold. But yeah, I'm within the last month, I was having this long conversation with my friend about going to Alcatraz. I want to do, and I don't know if he still does it. Do you know if our friend Peter Finch still does?
He doesn't.
He doesn't do it anymore because anybody that knows the Bay Area knows Peter
He
Finch.
used to give tours out there.
That was really, really.
But I bet you could convince him to take you out there for a day and walk you around.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I want to do the.
By the way, can I just say about our friend Peter Finch? He was walking his dog and he fell. And he thought he just fractured his humerus, but now he needs a whole shoulder replacement.
I know. That's
poor guy.
Yeah. I really do feel for, and Peter works at KCBS as well, so sometimes I get to see him and I've given him a big hug. We used to anchor together in the evenings, and so did you with Peter at KGO. So very nice guy. He always has the coolest gigs too. Peter has the coolest gigs. He's met so many people with the Finch Files and everything like that. So if you Google anything, Google that. It's he does excellent work. But as far as like visiting places, the Bay Area is huge. You know what I mean? I am sure there are people in the North Bay. I mean, how many times? Never mind. I'm going to say this and it's going to be stupid, but because it's such a fun thing to do with kids. I mean, you've been like Great America. You've been to the Santa Cruz Beach Board. Well, and you grew up in Santa Cruz too. Right. So you've taken your kids though to where you've lived in Santa Cruz, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
driven by my old high school. Absolutely.
She's a beach girl. She's a beach girl. Okay, so we're going to switch gears now and get into something that kind of makes everybody that watches us blood boil. Okay. And that, of course, is, I mean, our blood's boiling as we're freezing our butts off in our homes right now because of our PG&E bill.
Speaking of which, time for my blanket. My anti PG&E.
Exactly.
Thing.
I mean, I was wearing, I call it my Snuggie. And it's one of those wearable blanket things. It's all fluffy. I wear that at night because I can't keep turning on my heat, and it's at 65. And when it kicks in, that means it's chilly outside. You know what I mean? But apparently there was this idea, and we talked about this actually a month or so ago, of basing your PG&E bill on your income. And our friend, former CPUC President Loretta Lynch, who joins us now, was against it. Loretta, thank you so much for always being available to walk us through all the BS that is PG&E.
Nikki and Kim, thanks for having me again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Yes. Okay, so I sent you this email because I saw this news report, and I guess I was kind of surprised that lawmakers might be backtracking a bit on this idea of basing our PG&E bills on our income. Now, can you just recap for people that didn't hear our last conversation what this plan really entailed? And then afterwards, I want to ask you, why do you think they're backtracking?
Sure. And I wouldn't call it backtracking. I would call it fixing a travesty.
Okay, good.
That got stuffed in at the middle of the night. So back in June of 2022, the governor's office put in a trailer bill which trails the budget, meaning the lawmakers are busy making the budget and looking at the numbers. And then there's this bill that then tells the agencies how to spend the money they're getting.
And there's no discussion on this. There's no debate.
No,
We're not notified about this, right?
Right. So AB 205 in June of 2022 was proposed and voted within a week. It was like boom, 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 really kind of a 3-day gig where all these directions to the agencies about how to spend the budget money are given. And the governor's office put in wording that said, hey, PUC, for next year, 2023 and beyond, you PUC shall create a rate proceeding, meaning how you're going to decide which kinds of customers get what kind of electric bills, in which you shall impose a fixed rate. And you shall do it with an income graduation. You should have 3 categories of income, protecting the lowest income folks, but then you shall impose a fixed rate on the other folks. So I will say, as you all know, I'm a strong critic of the PUC, but this is actually not the PUC's fault. This is the governor and then the legislature's fault for passing this. Now, the problem is most legislators didn't even see this little, 4 sentences or 5 sentences in this 700-page bill.
Right.
Plus, there were no public hearings on it, no opportunity to comment, and no opportunity to hear from folks like me and others who would say, hey, did you see this? This is a really bad little provision in this 700-page bill. Don't do it. So it gets passed with no public hearings.
Let me ask you this question, because off the top, it sounds like it would be a good idea. Okay, I don't make a lot of money, so I'm going to be protected from these very high rates. And if it's fixed, then I know what's coming. I'm not going to be surprised every month that my bill's going to go up. So explain how this little part in this trailer bill could go so wrong, because the reporting, and you told us also, you could be making less than rich people, yet paying more for your PG&E. How the heck does that happen?
How does it work? So we already have programs to protect low-income people. If you make 250% of the poverty level, which is about $60,000 for a family of 4, it actually might be more than that now, then you can get 30% off your electric bill. You just sign up for the CARE, or what's called the FARA program. And so you already have an opportunity to cut your bill and have that permanent if you have essentially the same income that would qualify you for healthy families, for discounted health care. So we already have those programs, and those programs work, and they do protect lower income Californians, not just people at the poverty level, but people at 250% of the poverty level.
And is that, I'm thinking of retired people. So if they have a retirement fund that they tap into to make ends meet, pay their bills, Is that calculated for them? Like, or is it like a worker income?
It's an income level that
From
if
anything.
you fall below the income in your annual income,
Okay.
then you get protected. If you don't, then you don't get protected. But
Okay.
understand, AB 205 isn't protecting low income people. It's creating a permanent fixed charge, not rate. So that just means they're going to say, hey, low income people only have to pay, let's say, $10 a month in this fixed charge, but they also have to pay all the other unwarranted and unjust charges that PG&E is slathering on. So it's really an addition, not a max. Isn't that crazy?
So what are the other things? What are the other
nothing
things
about limiting rates? Nothing.
Who put this in? Who's
Governor.
responsible?
Well, so my understanding is that this language came from the governor's office. It was put into this budget trailer bill at the very end of the budget process. And there were no public hearings. There was really very little analysis. Some of even the staff committee analysis didn't mention this. It was only when it got much farther along to the floor of the Senate and the Assembly did the staff committee analysis say, hey, and there's an income graduated fixed charge. Well, who even knows what those words mean when they're voting on a bunch of stuff in the middle of the night?
Right.
So
it got put in by the legislature in 2022. And the deal is now that the PUC has a proceeding and there are proposals from the utilities to impose somewhere between $40 and $60 more a month. So that's $500 to $700 more a month on your bill, more for anybody who earns more than $60,000. A family who earns more than $60,000, right? That's just crazy. So the legislators, not surprisingly, are hearing from people like us, and they say, wow, I don't remember voting on that gig. And so very courageously, Assemblymember Jackie Irwin, who did vote on that bill and didn't understand that these little sentences were in it, said, hey, we made a mistake. Let's reverse it.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not a backtracking. It's a, hey, look at what little piece of was buried in this bill. Let's get it out of the law.
And let me just make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. And I'm glad that it's not going to happen. But when you're saying there's a fixed rate on top of all of the other fees. So if I look at my bill right now before the fixed, it's my bill plus $10 or whatever. Is that what I'm talking about? Like, what is the average amount of fees and nonsense that's already on my bill that we would still have to pay for if something like this did come to fruition?
Well, you'd have to pay for all the power that you use, right?
At the same rate.
Use a lot of power at the same rates as now. Well, they might adjust that down a teeny bit, but it's never going to compensate.
That doesn't make any sense then. They weren't doing anything for us. They weren't literally doing anything for us at all. That's just, we want to, I don't know. It just kind of blows my mind, Loretta, that they're trying to say, they're selling it like your bill's going to be $10, but it's really just another charge.
It's an extra charge on your bill.
Oh my God.
And the scary thing is it's an extra charge, but it's also a violation of your privacy. Because if this is an income-based fixed rate, then they have to know what everybody's income is. And do you want PG&E or the PUC? No. You want to report your income to those guys? Are you kidding me? Frickin' frack.
So what's now then? Okay, go ahead, Kim.
I was just going to say, so we know it came from the governor's office. Did it come from the governor himself? Did it come from a staffer? Do we know why they put it in there?
Who's lobbying for this?
Who
Loretta?
did it? And is it because does it have to do with PG&E wanting it to be on there, donating money to the governor? I mean, my mind goes to the dark place.
Of course.
Who and why?
I don't know who specifically did it, but you know who wanted it. Follow the money. The utilities will make more money. And so when you follow the money, who wants it? The utilities want it, because if they can make more money, then they will make more money.
Yeah.
And so they have lots of reasons. We have this charge and that should be spread across customer classes. Rates are high and poor people shouldn't pay so much. I agree. Rates are high and poor people shouldn't pay so much. So get the rates down.
Yes.
Don't have a circular firing squad where poor people are shooting at solar people and solar people are shooting at industrial customers. Everybody who says, hey, don't throw that big new charge on me. Right? What we need to do is look at this overflowing bucket of unwarranted costs and get them down to a reasonable level. And just one factoid, poor people in PG&E territory, and actually all the private utilities territory, they get a 30% rate reduction. They are still paying more than the average customer in SMUD in Sacramento.
Wow.
So the
That is
average customer's
crazy.
bill is less than the low income discount across the board across California. That shows you the disparity in just how high the private utilities rates are.
I never understand. I know we mention this every single time. I just never understand, and still to this day will not understand why Governor Newsom is such a failure on this issue. I understand it's lobbying and it's big donors and he's being called out for that. But, it's not only PG&E, Loretta. I live in San Jose. I just got a letter that CPUC is going to be considering raising the rates for my water. Now, has there ever been a no from the CPUC? Do we have a list of all the no's they've ever given to raising our rates? Because I kind of feel like that list would be very small, if not never. I mean, do they ever say no?
Well, I'll tell you, the 5.5 years that I was at the PUC, we said no a lot. And the utilities really didn't like that because every time we said no, it was profits out of their pockets. And so they're now very intent on making sure that they get commissioners who say yes all the time to everything they ask for. And so then they ask for the sun, the stars, and the moon because they know they won't get turned down. Or they might not get all the stars, but they're still going to get the sun and the moon. It's crazy. And that's the reason why California's rates are the second highest rates in the nation.
Behind who?
Hawaii, which is an island, and they have to truck everything in.
Which is understandable, right?
Exactly, that's the reason. Yeah. So whatever happened, I felt like there were a lot of headlines about breaking up PG&E. Right? What happened with that? I mean, it seemed like it was nonstop conversation. Cities wanting, like San Jose, wanting to create their own. What's happening with that?
Well, some cities are doing a very clever thing, like San Jose. San Jose has created a city utility, not to take over PG&E, but essentially to compete with PG&E. So whenever there's a new development, think about all those farms that go to housing and retail, right? That's new development. Those developers have to put in utilities to serve the new houses. Well, usually what happens is the developers turn all that infrastructure over to PG&E to run. And the city of San Jose says, no, turn it over to us. We'll run it. Yeah. And so they are creating these little pockets of municipal utility governance. And then ideally, they will stitch those pockets together if some changes in the law happen. The problem, of course, is in 2020, when PG&E was at its worst, it was bankrupt and creating wildfires all over the place. The legislature wanted to do something. And what they did was say to PG&E, you're a bad dog. And if you do this more, we're going to take you over. The PUC will determine whether or not you should be taken over, but taken over to form another private company. No. They're basically saying, you board, we're going to kick you out and put in a new board that will be appointed by the state, but it'll still be a private company. And that doesn't work in terms of our legal structure. It needs to be a public company for us to get rid of the profits, for us to get rid of the profit incentives, and for us to get rid of the folks who don't care about maintaining the system and running it for the people, but run it for the shareholders. So as long as you got shareholders, you got a problem.
What do you think if and when, because he's not going to be there forever, Newsom's out of the picture, do you think the next governor is going to make an improvement here? I mean, what do we need to look for in the next person that wants to be the governor of California?
Well, number one, repeal SB 250, which said we're going to, if we ever do take over PG&E, we'll make another corporation, private corporation, and not a public one. But two, let's make sure the next governor appoints PUC commissioners who care about the people and not the profits and in the for-profit utilities. And we will really have a choice. There are a ton of folks running for governor. So what's their stand on high rates? How specifically would they cut the rate? Who would they protect and whose ox would they gore, right?
I just feel like there's a system in place and PG&E gives money to all these candidates. Yes. And they're probably, when it comes to this issue, carbon copies of each other, all with their hand out, taking money from the utilities. And maybe that's not true, but it just feels like we're never going to get out of under the thumb of PG&E.
Well, Kim, I agree. It's pretty discouraging in general because it is true that most governors have been in the past pro-utility. But I want to keep hope alive, as Jon Stewart used to say, even if it's false hope, let's keep hope alive and let's hold the new candidates' feet, let's make them accountable. on the campaign trail by asking them at citizen forums, hey, what specifically are you going to do? Will you support public power?
Yeah.
There is an effort in San Diego for the city of San Diego to take over SDG&E's, take it over, buy it out, essentially. And that's going to be on the ballot as a citizen initiative. Where do the gubernatorial candidates stand on that?
Yeah.
Where do they stand on San Jose's effort to protect their people with a San Jose municipal utility?
I know Eleni Kounalakis, the lieutenant governor, is planning on running for governor. I kind of feel like she might be in the same bed as Governor Newsom, though, when it comes to something like PG&E. Do you have any inkling of who or what kind of candidate or what candidate would hold PG&E and the CPU's feet to the fire?
You know, I'm so busy fighting these current fights on the income graduated tax and trying to get all these unwarranted costs down. I haven't talked to the gubernatorial candidates about energy.
Well, whoever you endorse, Loretta, you're going to have to let us know when you do, because we need people like you that can see through the BS and the lobbying BS that's obviously going to be happening. I mean, I just want PG&E to go away. I really do. As far as a private company, when we don't have an option, we don't have it.
But we have to have something better. We don't want to just, kill the beast and then have chaos and anarchy.
Right.
And so we really do have to plan it. So I will tell you, whoever I endorse, I will endorse because they are for public power and that they will agree to concrete steps to get us out of this mess. Because frankly, our economy can't handle it. Small businesses, small commercial customers are paying some of the highest rates in the nation. They rival Hawaii's rates for no good reason. We're certainly not safer or more reliable or cleaner. The utilities are just making more profit off of folks. So they're making profit off of you and me, California's families, but they're also making profit off of agricultural customers, highest rate in the continental United States for agriculture. What does that mean when California is so dependent on agriculture as a key part of our economy? It's just ridiculous.
When you say public power, though, a lot of people will go, "Oh no, we're going to turn something public," and then they envision, what happened with the economic or the employee development department, right, with all the fraud there, or they look at the DMV and how the computer system was outdated, and so when you look at a public power company, is it fraught with red tape and with bureaucratic, incompetencies? Or how do we make sure that if we take over our power structure, that we do it in a way that, is good for all of us instead of, maybe poor management?
Absolutely. That's why I'm saying we can't just replace something with nothing. Yeah. So what the good news is, there are government-owned electricity systems in every state in the country. So about 20% of the entire customer demand is served by public power right now across the United States. And in California, it's about 22%. And so I point to SMUD. SMUD is a public entity, but its board of directors are elected by the people. And then they have all sorts of rules about how they're supposed to run the system. So the good news is you get the profit out of it. And PG&E right now makes a 10.25% profit. But because we pay taxes, we pay their taxes on their profit, we would be saving 16 to 17 cents out of every ratepayer dollar right off the bat if we went from private to public. Yeah. And that's 16 to 17 cents that we could use to maintain the system or give back to the ratepayers. Yeah. But then there's all these other, let's just say, bloated costs of the for-profit system that we could get down. So I really think we could save about 30 cents out of every dollar, maybe even more, if we went to public systems. And I'm not saying public systems are perfect. Yeah. They're just a whole heck of a lot better than the private system, where PG&E proposes undergrounding lines so that they can make more profit off of lines, even when the Natural Resources Agency calls them out and says, hey, your underground line proposal will underground non-priority lines, and you're going to underground lines in the areas where there is no high fire threat risk. So instead of going in and fixing where it's most likely to have fires, they want to go in and underground lines that will make them the most money.
And nobody's watching them. Yeah. And nobody's watching it. And the governor is a failure on this. Now, when we're talking about PG&E, that's one thing. I'm having more people ask about the water rates. I feel like there's a huge difference in what I support, because with PG&E, yes, I'm frustrated. It's the heat, it's the power. With water, I'm ingesting that. I want to make sure that it's up to snuff, right? That they're doing all the things to keep it clean and safe. What do you think about water rates going up? I mean, is it necessary? Is it along the same lines as PG&E?
Well, there we have a really good example of public agencies doing a good job. About 80% of water agencies are public today in California. So in San Francisco, the San Francisco Department of Water and Power, they are the ones who provide us water. And in Oakland and in Berkeley, that's a public water agency in East Bay Mud. And those guys have high standards and high quality and good results for a lower price than the privates. So why we even allow private water companies to exist for this essential public good is beyond me. Because I'll tell you, the private water companies that I regulated, which are probably the private water companies that provide you water right now, Nikki,
Yep.
Cut corners all the time in service of profit.
And that doesn't make me feel good, because again, I'm drinking this water, and I'm doing that. Yeah. SF Tesla, San Jose is going from an average of $107 in 2025 to $131 in 2027. It's a lot. It's a lot. And that's just average. I mean, I don't feel like I use that much water, although now I have teenagers who don't seem to want to get the hell out of the bathroom. But again, it's one of these things that we need. And where else am I supposed to go to get the service? And there's no option. And so they've got me. They have me. What am I supposed to do?
Well, I'd complain to your legislator to take over Cal-Am or American Water, whoever your water company is.
Water, yeah.
But also there again, the PUC is the one that approves those rate increases. Just like with the private utilities, with the private water companies, we're right back at our favorite rogue regulatory agency, the PUC. So there, I would be asking each gubernatorial candidate who comes on your show, what are you going to do about private water companies and their rates? And what are you going to do about appointing PUC commissioners who have a demonstrated commitment to protect the consumer and the environment?
Yeah. And also, with water, sometimes we can serve and then we're dinged on the other side because they didn't get our money. It's as if we can't win for lose. It sucks. And with the fixed rate, we wouldn't have even been able to lower that rate because it would have been fixed if it did go through. So we're screwed.
Well, and so that's where we really do need to look at taking over the private water companies. And the little town of Felton, California, up in the mountains, did that. It took them about 10 years, but they municipalized their water company and wrested control back from American Water. And you have to tip your hat to Felton, and we should do more of the same.
Absolutely.
I saw a story today about more Californians at risk of losing their landlines. I don't know if you saw this one, but this is AT&T required to provide the service as the states, they call it the carrier of last resort. They're the only one left doing the landline service, but the company wants to end it. They don't want to have to do this anymore, so they sent an application to state regulators, your favorite agency. If approved, no one would have to offer a basic plan in a specified area, though it's possible another carrier could come forward and end up doing it. The forums start next week with customers giving feedback. Maybe so many people don't have landlines anymore that we just don't care, but it's a big deal for those people who depend on their landlines for that service.
Oh, absolutely. So older folks and lower income folks are the ones who have landlines, or people who don't care about the cost. I have a landline still, as well as my cell phone, for safety reasons, because when there's an earthquake, the thing that's going to work is your landline, not your cell phone. Cell phone service will be disrupted in emergencies a whole lot more than the landline service.
Right.
But it is a fallacy to think that some other company is going to come in and take over the landline service. And the reason is AT&T owns all the copper wires that go to your house. And so they are going to charge a pretty penny for anybody who wants to come in and take that over. And it's just prohibitively expensive to go recreate the landline they're an actual copper wire that's coming into your house that already exists. That's just kind of an unneeded expense. And so ultimately we will, if AT&T is allowed to just slough it off and no longer maintain it. Right now, we pay to have them maintain that really great communication service that ratepayers for the last 60 years paid to install. Why don't we just pay a little bit to maintain it, especially in earthquake country? I don't get it.
Exactly. A question from Phineas about the ACP Affordable Telecom Act being stopped in March, and how do we get it back? What is that?
I think that he's talking about a federal law. So I don't know what was stopped in March on the federal level, I have to say.
Okay.
But I do know that the PUC has a very hands-off approach to regulating telecommunications, but they don't have to have a hands-off approach. I never did. I went after the cable companies and tried to regulate them until finally the US Supreme Court said that states couldn't regulate cable companies. But for the longest time we could. And why wouldn't we? So why wouldn't you use the regulatory authority you have? And I think it's because commissioners in the past have been appointed who are essentially anti-regulatory, who are against the very foundation of the mission of the agency. We need to get commissioners back who think regulation is a good thing of these essential monopoly goods like a landline service.
Well, especially since that is literally the job. Like you hired to regulate something it's in the job description. So how do we get these, how does it work that the people that are appointed to the CPUC, is it lifetime? Is there any way that us, the public, can have a say or remove them, or how does that work?
The governor appoints and the state senate confirms, and there are 5 people on the PUC, each of whom have staggered 6-year terms. So what we know is with the new governor coming up in 2027, well, actually, even in 2025, this governor will have an opportunity to appoint 2 new commissioners or reappoint 2 that are already on. And then in 2027, the new governor will have an opportunity to appoint 2 new commissioners. So they cycle through every couple years. So we have a great opportunity to change the perspective and the focus and priorities of this commission really just in the next 3 years, which is something. So why wouldn't we take that opportunity and make our voices known with the state senators who confirm them, and certainly for 2026 with the gubernatorial candidates? What kind of PUC commissioner are you going to appoint specifically, and what are you going to tell them you want?
I want more protests, Loretta. That's what I want. I want every single time that Governor Newsom is out somewhere, somebody is holding up their PG&E bill and asking them, what are you doing? I don't understand why Governor Newsom, honestly, Kim and I feel the exact same way about this. I like him in so many other
What's
issues.
this about?
What is this about? What are you
so much?
doing? Yeah, it's just, why do you think, we're upset. We talk about this. I could talk about this every freaking day, and so can everybody else. But why do you think it's not at the feet of Newsom all the time? It doesn't seem like this is even on his radar sometimes.
No one's asking about it.
No one's asking him.
And why are people saying, why did your office put this bill through?
Right.
And what is happening?
What were you thinking? Yeah.
Why is no one paying attention? Is it just us?
Well, I'll tell you, I do think that calls into your legislators work, because when I've recently been called by several legislators to explain why are the bills so high and what can we do about it, because 90% of the calls they're getting into their district and Sacramento offices are about complaining about their electric bills.
Nice.
And so keep those calls up, because the legislators at least are paying attention. As to the governor, it depends on who you hang out with. And if you're hanging out with people whose electric bill maybe $1,000, but they got a $5,000 or $6,000 square foot home, or maybe several homes, they don't even know what their electric bill is.
Yeah.
So you got to hang out with people who actually have to budget the payment of their electric bill into their monthly budget to understand what average Californians are going through.
Wow. There are people like, look, Liz, people don't know about this. I didn't until Loretta was on your show. And that's why we love having Loretta on. The whole income, just what we were talking about, that whole income thing. I think if you just told people we're going to base your rate on how much, and low income people, and it's just going to increase, people are like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. I'll know what it is. And then you realize, no, this is just on top of everything else that you're freaking paying, would blow people's minds. And I think, Loretta, you're absolutely right. We have to continue to call in, because I think that pressure led to them not backtracking, but just not moving forward with what would have been a travesty for so many people at a time when we're trying to manage our money. Yes, the economy is turning around, but it's expensive to live in the Bay Area, and I don't need any other fees added onto my bill.
Well, and why should you pay somewhere between $200 and $600 more a month?
Oh my,
Or,
more a month.
I'm sorry, not a
More
month. $200 to $600 more a year because you earn more than $60,000 or you earn more than $100,000. So some of the rates cuts or income cuts that they're looking at are 100 or 150,000. And if you earn more than 100,000, you will pay the same fixed charge that Mark Zuckerberg pays.
That's ridiculous.
And for Mark Zuckerberg, he probably doesn't even notice he's paying 600 bucks more a month. But if you earn $101,000 a year, you're going to notice if you're paying 600 bucks more a year just for no reason because the utilities asked for it and they got it.
Oh, my bill went up like almost $100 last month. Almost
Well,
$100.
that's for a whole different. That's for a whole different reason, which is the rate increase to keep the system going.
Exactly.
And
And there's
just so
more
you know,
coming, right?
Oh, more coming because over the last 10 years, PG&E's rates have gone up 127%. Can you believe it? More than doubled in the last 10 years. And in the last 4 years, they've gone up over 70%. So it's accelerating. And the PG&E has an 18% rate increase on the table again for this year. So they are making money hand over fist without really many controls or oversight about how they're spending that money. And people are screaming, it's going to hurt our economy versus the other states if we don't actually tackle this problem of unwarranted costs.
Exactly. And with climate change, I mean, Sandy's saying it, summers have gotten so hot in San Jose, I end up running up a huge electricity bill for my air conditioning. I remember when it wasn't so hot, we didn't need AC. San Francisco, I mean, every year now it's the same story for people that never had AC because they didn't need it. All of a sudden they're literally dying if you're of a certain age because it's too hot. Climate change compared with higher PG&E bills is literally killing people because they can't afford it. And that's a tragedy that's on the governor's hands.
Well, Nikki, you are exactly right. It's now become a health and safety issue, whether you can afford your electric bill in the summer.
Yeah. It is so sad. It kind of reminds me of people that, can't afford insulin, right? Now, all of a sudden we can't afford PG&E. Are you kidding me? It's so sad, and I'm so happy to always have you on. Loretta Lynch, again, the message is contact our state lawmakers, especially the people that appoint the CPUC, and really pay attention to who's running for governor. You are going to have to give us your endorsement when you make one, because whoever you vote for, I'm voting for. I don't care.
One thing, this bill to turn around this really crazy idea of income-based rates or fixed charge is AB 1999. And so think about, wouldn't you like to have the electricity bill you had in 1999? So
there you go.
For AB 1999, and then you can play us out on Prince.
There you go. Okay.
So is that something that is, that's not a done deal, right? I mean, they're still discussing it. It's going through committee. How do we support that? How do we make sure that that provision to slap on this extra fee based on our income actually passes?
So you would call your legislator and say, please vote yes on AB 1999, because AB 1999 will repeal the bad law that they made a couple years ago.
Yes, on 1999. Okay.
If it's passed and Governor Newsom, it lands on his desk, will he sign it or will he veto it because it was his office's idea in the first place?
Well, that is going to be the very sadly $1 trillion question here. And that will happen before June 30th.
All right. I got all these things. June 30th. So today, you guys, honestly, whoever your state lawmaker is, you need to tell them to vote yes on 1999. Yeah. Yes on AB 1999. Because, oh my God, if it passes, I'm going to pull out every single curly hair on my head, Loretta. I swear to God.
Well, we want it to pass, right? Because then they'll stop.
The other one, yes. We want AB. Yes. Yes on AB 1999.
If AB 1999 does not pass, then the PUC this summer will implement income graduated fixed charges.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And again, there are people that are against it. Loretta, we always appreciate you. We'll bring you back on. We're going to continue to get updates. If you guys ever have any questions for Loretta, send them to me. And the next time she's on, she'll answer them for you. Former CPUC President Loretta Lynch, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes on AB 1999. We've got it. It's in the brain. We'll talk to you next time.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
right,
Loretta.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Very upset. Very, very upset. But I'm glad that we have someone like Loretta Lynch on our side talking us through all these things. Because again, when I saw that headline, Kim, about that income thing not, looking like it's not going to happen, I was like, yes, Loretta was telling us all about that, on why we shouldn't be doing it. Yeah. And at the same time, I mean, think about the income you would have to make to even qualify for the rate deductions right now. $60,000 for a family of 4. I mean, it may be a little bit higher now, but still, most people make $100,000 a year and are barely making ends meet. You know what I mean? I saw this article and it was really funny. Remember what DINKs are? Do you remember what a DINK is?
No.
Dual income, no kids.
No kids, yeah.
No kids. Okay, so DINK couples are even saying we each make $100,000 and we're barely able to make ends meet.
That's crazy, even with no kids?
Even with no kids.
Because it's the housing costs.
Housing costs,
everything. Grocery costs, gas costs, PG&E costs. Yeah, I guess dual income with no kids would have trouble too.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm thinking about teachers, because I know a lot of teachers cap out at like $75,000 a year in some districts. Although I just got a note from Petaluma City Schools that say their top tier for teachers is $108,000 a year. Amazing. That's great. But if you imagine, if you're a teacher, maybe you're a teacher who's a single mom, you're a teacher, but you're trying to make it work and you got a house. I don't know how then you teachers are slapped with extra fees. Like, I worry about people that are just barely making it. You know, it sounds like a lot of money until you live in the Bay Area.
Oh, yeah.
And then here come, this is outrageous. And they keep finding these sneaky ways to slap more and more fees and money that they are sucking out of us. And it pisses me off.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that, again, like the hypocrisy from people like Governor Newsom, who are like, I'm looking out for Californians and your paychecks and all this nonsense, when you come up with this idea that you know is going to screw us. The fact that income thing was an added rate on top of what we already pay.
I mean, how much do they think they're going to be able to suck out of us before we get so pissed off?
Another 18% rate is on the way.
Like, are they trying to get public power? Are they trying to make that happen? Because we're going to get so angry that we're going to demand it.
Well, I mean, I feel like people are already there, and we just don't have we have to call. You have to call, like Senator Scott Wiener. He's one of those that came out against this. But again, the fact that it even got onto the trailer bill is the problem. These trailer bills where there's no discussion, there's no public comment. They're trying to squeeze it through. And then all of a sudden, people like Loretta Lynch are coming on shows like this and being like, wake up, people. Wake up. Look what's happening here. And then all of a sudden it gets to Senator Scott Wiener's desk and other people's, like she mentioned. And they're like, wait. We're not going to support this. Assemblymember Jackie Irwin was the one that Loretta Lynch just mentioned, that's being joined by Senator Scott Wiener. We need to keep the screws on these people and be like, not one more increase. We can't honestly do anything unless we break them up about what we already have to pay, I guess. But not one more increase. And any candidate for governor that's not willing to do that and not willing to say that does not have my vote and shouldn't have yours either.
I just put the link in the chat for the list of assembly members in the state of California.
Yeah.
So check it out. Yeah, check it out, because find yours, and the phone numbers are all on there. Make it easy to call. It makes it easier to call. This is an interesting perspective. Starts with who is elected governor.
Yeah.
Just give me the truth. Says Newsom is doing the best he can. Is he, though, on this case? They're all stuck between money that funds both parties and often the incoherent demands from people.
There's no incoherent demand when it comes to PG&E. With PG&E, it's very clear. I hear what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You know, it takes money. It takes lobbying. That's the game.
This is the way our system works.
I get that. No, PG&E can kick freaking rocks, right? They have killed people. They have literally killed people. They have decimated neighborhoods. They have been told you cannot raise rates to pay for all your lawsuits. And that is exactly what they're doing. They're using it under the guise of, we have to do these safety plans. It was your fault it wasn't done in the first place. No, they are not going to sell you this bull BS anymore. And we need candidates for governor that are going to Stop appointing people to the CPUC. State senators that are not going to rubber stamp these people, and get real regulation over the utility if it's going to remain a private company.
He says there's no candidates that won't support the plutocrats. Remember back when donors threatened to pull money from Democrats over universal health care.
Well,
so you're
we'll
just
see.
saying we're stuck in this cycle? We're never going to get out of it because that's just the way it is?
No. I think that this is a universal issue. This is not a blue, a red, a purple issue. This is a pissed off issue. I live in California and I pay enough damn money for all sorts of things. And you need to regulate this. You have to stop raising rates. Make PG&E take it out of the shareholders' profits if they're going to stay a private company. Screw you. No, it's a big fat no. So we need to stay strong. Call your assembly member. Call State Senator Scott Wiener. Make sure that when they do have new candidates for the CPUC before them, that they make sure that these people are actually going to regulate. It's ridiculous. And I just can't stand it. I really hope that we can make some change because it needs to happen, or people are literally, really, and I'm not being, dramatic when I say this. More people are going to lose their lives. More people are going to lose their neighborhoods because the CPUC is in bed with PG&E, and it's ridiculous. So, So we love Loretta Lynch. We will definitely be bringing her back on, and All right. Yes, on AB 1999. Final message to you guys. A big thank you to people that have donated to the cause, which is this show. Spencer came in with a $5 super sticker. Thank you. Dave with the $20.
Yay.
And loving our tangents. I love our tangents as well. Angel came in with 2 $10 donations. Thank you so much, Angel. And thank you all of you for tuning in each and every day to the show. Please go to our show's website. It is thenikkimedoroshow.com. Thenikkimedoroshow.com. Our Patreon link is there. We're 100% crowdfunded, and we can only keep the lights on because of you. So if you like to be here every morning, please donate to the show. And if you already donate and you can afford more, we would appreciate that as well. If you want to use PayPal, you don't want to do Patreon, we take PayPal as well. PayPal.com, hit the send button, and then put in the email, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. Okay, tomorrow is Friday. It's my favorite day. I do have a recipe for all of you that were really,
What's it going to be?
It's going to be healthy. I am going to be doing a viral, it's been described as a viral midnight snack. Okay. I have to make it though today because later on today I'm getting the other half of my face done for my deep cleaning. And so I will not be able to eat this later on tonight. So I'm going to make it right now. I'm going to try it. And I'm sure I'll have some left over to try on the show tomorrow. So it sounds delicious and very easy. And I bet you most of you may have, let me see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 4 ingredients. Remember, I told you I'm trying to make really easy recipes that don't use too many ingredients.
Right.
I think it's 4 ingredients. And
Can we try it with you? What is it?
I'll send it to you. I'm not going to tell you now. You have to tune in tomorrow for our Friday food segment.
Rude.
And of course, Tim Sika will be on to talk movies. I love you guys so very much. Until tomorrow, stay here for Mark Thompson and then the After Party Live with Kim and John Daly.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Mwah. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.